kuhika haha unazivoya sizokoma zao kuasana siase ichi hasa bai huna mala siyu mjeni wehu adhiye kuza haha ariye ni chilongozi wehu na chilongozi wehu mbomu ariye ni Ruto huna muhasa na ekuhaswa na haswe achi haswa bai huna mala siye asehenza siga huna mala kwenda makazombo kwenda naende achenda kuna nyumba kaisundulwa achifika siye kusundurirwa na sundurirwe achisundurirwa huna mala kusindikirwa na sindikirwe achisindikirwa huna mala siya sinzima ya Kenya huna mala mvula ni matezi kunyana inye ichinya indameza maboga manji sana atuandaga mala vaganjize masufuria ni vagajite muna mala mzanga na moyo kulala na ulale uyu hazo konana na honane unahenza uchigoma kusikirana na usikirane unahenza siyu raisi wehu Ruto unamuvoyera nemambizo vivi uzifika wakati atu wanaviha vinji huna mala via sivira kwenda nyika kwenda na vende huna mala siye mtumia bai siro rakwa ndiro gomba huna henza kwenda Zulu kwenda na rende hazo konana na honane amizi similani nashukuru sana pachikao chichi mimi ni mabaya wa Mbura ni lakaya chonyi na kaya yehu unaihenza raisi uhitengeze kwa hivyo nashukuru sana
na kwa yote tunasema amina. Tafadhali sote tuketi. Asante kabisa viongozi wetu wa kidini. Ukinikubalia mgeni wetu wa heshima, nitaweza kukukaribisha kwa burudani fupi mno ambalo linaguzia kabisa mada za siku ya leo, siku ambayo kama taifa tunajumuika na mataifa mengine kuweza kupigana na masuala ya ukame. Atakaye tufungulia jamvi hilo ni mtoto Ashley Melona ambaye ni wa gredi la 4 aliye na ujumbe ambao nitawaomba sote tafadhali kwa heshima tutulie kabisa, tumpe masikio ili tuweze kuburudika. Karibu sana mgeni wa heshima, Mheshimiwa Naibu wa Rais, uweze kuburudika.
Good afternoon, the Vice President and my fellow citizens of Kenya. I'm Ashley Melona, a grade 4 learner. I have a spoken word which tells a call for a second term for President William Ruto and the Deputy President, Professor Kithure Kindiki. Mr. President and the Vice President, the nation is speaking not with anger today, but with reflection, because leadership is a journey and every journey leaves footprints behind. We have seen the affordable housing project rise brick by brick, giving ordinary Kenyans hope that one day rent pressure may become a story of the past. We have seen roads expand across the counties, connecting businesses, connecting dreams, connecting villages to opportunities. Farmers now speak of fertilizer subsidies, a relief to the man who tills the land before sunrise, to the woman whose hands carried the hunger of this nation. Digital jobs are growing, youth are entering online spaces, innovation hub are rising, and technology is becoming a language even the village child can speak. The Hustler Fund gave many small traders a reason to believe that they matter too, because sometimes empowerment begins with being seen. Healthcare conservation continue, education reforms continue, markets are being built, and electricity continue reaching places that once slept in darkness. Mr. President and the Vice President, your work is not finished, but your effort is visible. That's why we are saying 2 times bila breki. The youth still seek jobs, families still fight high living costs, businesses still pray for stability, but leadership is tested most when challenges refuse to disappear. And even in criticism, there are citizens still hoping, still praying, still believing that Kenya can rise higher, because this country is not built by the government alone. It is built by farmers, teachers, hustlers, students, boda riders, nurses, creators, and dreamers. So, as we lead today up to 2032, may wisdom guide our decisions, may service remain greater than politics, and may every heartbeat of Kenya continue to grow stronger. And when history writes a chapter, may it say, he tried to lift the nation, he carried the hopes of the common citizen, he believed Kenya could move forward, because Kenya is watching, Africa is watching, and the future is listening. May peace remain in our land, may unity overcome division, and may the heartbeat of Kenya continue to grow stronger. For we are more than our struggles. We are Kenya, strong, resilient, and still rising. Kenya mbele, Kenya imara, Kenya maendeleo ya kung'ara na Vice President. Thank you. Be blessed.
Makofi mazuri kwa mtoto Ashley jameni. Kenya mbele, Kenya iendelee kung'ara, na Kenya ing'are na nani? Naibu wa Rais. Makofi tena kwa mtoto wetu Ashley. Asante. Watakaofuatia Mheshimiwa Naibu wa Rais ni Vipingo Central Primary. Popote mlipo, karibuni pia muweze kutuonyesha makali yenu. Nao Dream Dancers wajiandae vikamilifu, bila kuwasahau wana mashaiha Giriama Dancers. Vipingo Central Primary, tafadhali ukumbi ni wenu. Asante sana wana Vipingo Central Primary. Asante kabisa. Asante sana kwa maonyesho hayo mazuri ya kukuza tamaduni. Na sasa tuwakaribishe kabisa kikundi cha pili. Dream Dancers. Kwa heshima tuingie kwa utaratibu, tuwape makofi mazuri wanapoondoka ugani. Makofi mazuri tena kwao jameni, watoto wetu wazuri ambao wametupa mahali pa kufanyia kongamano hili, watoto wa Vipingo Central Primary. Watakaofuatia ni Dream Dancers ambao pia watachukua muda mchache mno, Mheshimiwa Naibu wa Rais, kutuonyesha makali yao. Asante sana, tungependa waendelee kabisa, lakini muda hauturuhusu. Tunashukuru, wape makofi mazuri. Wape makofi mazuri. Hao wanajulikana kama Dream Dancers, wapiga densi wa jimbo hili la Kilifi, wacheza densi ambao wanajulikana katika jimbo hili na hata majimbo jirani. Watakao tutamatishia Mheshimiwa Naibu wa Rais si wengine bali ni Mashaiha Giriama Dancers. Popote mlipo, karibuni muweze kuburudisha wageni wetu.
Unakula ya inami
Asante sana, asante kabisa Mashaiha, Giriama dancers. Makofi mazuri kwao tafadhali, kwa heshima. Asante sana, asante kabisa. Asante tena sana. Tuwapigie makofi tafadhali. Ni wale ambao wanatukumbusha umuhimu wa kutunza tamaduni zetu, na tunawashukuru kabisa. Na huo ndio mwisho wa kipindi chetu kifupi cha burudani, Mheshimiwa Naibu wa Rais. Mgeni wetu wa heshima, Mheshimiwa Naibu wa Rais Profesa Kithure Kindiki, Waziri wa Mazingira nchini Mheshimiwa Daktari Dibora Mlongo Baraza, Naibu Katibu Mkuu wa Umoja wa Mataifa na Katibu Mtendaji wa Mkataba wa Umoja wa Mataifa wa kupambana na kuenea kwa ukame, Bi Daktari Yasmin Ford, Naibu Katibu Mkuu wa Umoja wa Mataifa na Mkurugenzi Mtendaji wa Mpango wa Mazingira wa Umoja wa Mataifa, Bi Inga Anderson, Kamishna wa Kilimo, Maendeleo ya Vijijini, Uchumi Samawati na Maendeleo Endelevu, Mheshimiwa Moses Vilakati, Naibu Gavana wa gatuzi hili, Mheshimiwa Bi Flora Mbesa, Balozi na mwakilishi wa kudumu wa Jamhuri ya Kenya katika ujumbe wa kudumu wa Kenya, Balozi Daktari Aida Betty Odinga, mabalozi wote mliofika, makatibu kutoka wizara mbalimbali, viongozi wote mliofika mkiwemo wale wa kimataifa na hata wale wa mashinani, washikadau wote wahusika wa kongamano hili kuu, mabibi na mabwana. Kwa kuzingatia itifaki hii, Mheshimiwa Naibu wa Rais, nikubalie nimwalike Katibu Mkuu Wizara ya Mazingira, Daktari Engineer Festus Ngeno, aweze kutuongoza katika ratiba hii. Makofi mazuri kwake tafadhali.
Your Excellency, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Professor Kithure Kindiki, who is our chief guest for this event, our Cabinet Secretary, Dr. Deborah Mlongo Baraza, the Executive Director, UNEP Inga Anderson, the Executive Director, UNCCD, Dr. Yasmin Ford, the PR to UNEP and UNON, Her Excellency Mama Aida Odinga, Your Excellencies Ambassadors present, the Deputy Governor of Kilifi, Her Excellency Flora Mbesa, members of Parliament present led by the local leadership, the Environment Committee members, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Habari zenu. Allow me, Your Excellency, on the onset to, because I know they will not have time to speak, to allow the organizers of this event, who are the focal point for UNCCD, led by the chairman of NEMA, and you are both kindly be upstanding, and all the technical committees who are responsible for planning for this event. Kindly, we truly appreciate you, Your Excellency. NEMA is the focal point for UNCCD, supported by various partners. Asanteni sana kwa kuja na kwa kupanga hii mpango. Your Excellency, thank you so much for honoring us with your presence. To set the context for today's observance, we shall now have a short highlight video on the Desertification and Drought Day, showcasing the importance of collective action in addressing land degradation, drought resilience, rangeland management, and sustainable livelihoods. Media and technical teams kindly play the video. Asante.
Kenya's soils are degrading at an unprecedented rate with catastrophic consequences. As a nation dependent on agriculture, over 12 million people are residing in areas with degraded lands. Unfortunately, smallholder farmers face a heavy burden with soil erosion, erratic rains, climate variability, agrobiodiversity loss, and soil nutrient depletion.
Hatukuwa tunajua maana ya kutunza mchanga. Kwa mfano, unapata mtu ako na shamba yake nzuri, mchanga ni mzuri, lakini ameachilia ng'ombe zake kwa shamba. Utapata ng'ombe kwa shamba, mbuzi kwa shamba, zinakanyanga huo mchanga, alafu wakati upepo unapokuja, unabeba ule mchanga mzuri, unapeleka.
Maana hizi mitaro kwa hapa ilikuwa ni maji ilikuwa imetengeneza. Na kila mara kinyesha maji napita hapa, natoa mtaro kubwa. Kuna wakati mwingine ilikuwa imebeba ng'ombe mpaka huko chini. Kwa hivyo tulikuwa tunapata shida mingi sana kwa sababu hata kuna wakati tunashindwa kufuka.
Land degradation in Kenya has the potential to have lasting effects on both the economy and the way of life for Kenyan people. This is driven by several factors: clearing land for crop and livestock farming, wood extraction, charcoal burning, infrastructure development, as well as practices such as poor tillage.
And the next drought isn't coming someday. It's already here. And this time, we know what to do.
Thank you so much, media team, Your Excellency. The video has clearly reminded us that the urgency of restoring our degraded lands, strengthening our drought resilience, protecting livelihoods, particularly for communities in dry land and rangeland ecosystems. And therefore, Your Excellency, rangelands are the lifeblood of Kenya's dryland ecosystem, supporting over 70% of our nation's livestock and millions of pastoralist communities. During this Drought and Desertification Day celebrations, we reaffirm that investing in sustainable land and rangeland management through landscape and ecosystem restoration, drought-resilient grazing systems, and community-led conservation is not just an environmental imperative, but a cornerstone to national food security, climate action, and peace. Allow me now, Your Excellency, as the host of the county for this global observance, Kilifi County holds a special place in today's program. I now have the honor and the pleasure to invite Her Excellency Flora Mbetsa to welcome us to Kilifi County and deliver a statement in that regard. A round of applause for our Deputy Governor. Thank you.
Your Excellency, the Vice President of Kenya, let me ride on the protocol already observed. It gives me great pleasure to join you today as we commemorate the World Day to combat desertification and drought under the timely and important theme, Rangelands, Recognize, Respect, and Restore. I bring you warm greetings from His Excellency the Governor, Gideon Maitha Mng'aro, and the people of Kilifi County. Here we say you have breakfast at the beach, lunch at the game drive, and dinner at the sand dunes. Today's theme speaks directly to the realities and aspirations of our county, and the semi-arid and semi-arid lands cover significant portions of Kilifi County and support the livelihoods of thousands of households who continue to experience erratic rainfall patterns, prolonged dry spells, and recurring drought conditions. These pressures, Your Excellency, have contributed to land degradation, declining of productivity, and loss of vegetation cover and increased vulnerability among our communities. Therefore, the call to recognize, to respect, and to restore our rangelands are very, very important. In Kilifi, we are saying recognizing our rangelands, means acknowledging their economic, ecological, and social value. Respecting them means supporting the communities whose lives and livelihoods depend on this ecosystem, and restoring means taking deliberate action to rehabilitate degraded landscapes and invest in sustainable and management practices. As Kilifi County government, we recognize that sustainable management of rangelands is not merely an environmental concern, it is a developmental priority. Healthy rangelands mean healthier livestock, improved food security, and increased household incomes, and stronger resilience against climate shocks. In this regard, therefore, the county government continues to invest in nature-based solutions aimed at restoring degraded ecosystems while supporting livelihood. These interventions include tree growing initiatives, promoting agroforestry, sustainable grazing practices, soil and water conservation measures, and protecting our indigenous ecosystem. Ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to report, as a county government, together with our partners, we have now planted over 3.2 million trees across both terrestrial and marine ecosystems. However, our focus now goes beyond planting. We are looking at nurturing. Our priority is to ensure these trees survive. They grow, they contribute meaningfully to increase forest cover, improve ecosystem health, strengthen climate resilience, among all this. We have a deliberate effort to plant fruit trees that go a long way to give nutrition to our children. Furthermore, in Kilifi, we have developed a forest policy and forest act, which are currently under review to ensure they adequately address merging environmental and rangeland management challenges. The future, ladies and gentlemen, of our rangeland depends on collective action. Government alone cannot achieve this transformation. We need stronger partnerships with communities, development partners, civil society organizations, research institutions, and the private sector. Together, we can restore degraded landscapes, strengthen climate resistance, expand forest cover, and create sustainable opportunities for future generations. As we mark this important day, therefore, let us recommit ourselves to protect our environment, ensure that our natural resources continue to support livelihoods for generations to come. Let us recognize the value of our rangelands. Let us respect the communities that depend on them, and let us restore these landscapes so that they remain productive, resilient, and sustainable. With those few remarks, I thank the organizers for bringing us together and wish all of us a fruitful deliberation. With your permission, Your Excellency, wacha niinue wafanyakazi wote wa ndani ya county government na wale ma-MCA. Tafadhali simameni mutambulike. Just wave wafanyakazi, mawaziri, chief officers na a few MCAs. Asante sana. God bless Kenya. Asante sana.
Round of applause to our Deputy Governor. Thank you so much. Your Excellency, the county government of Kilifi have really given us a good host, and they have really supported this program together working with the National Environmental Management Authority. Allow me, Your Excellency, to invite the Deputy Majority Leader, Honorable Owen Baye, to make a statement and introduce the other members of Parliament. And tulikuwa tumesikizana na yeye.
Deputy President, Your Excellency, Professor Kithure Kindiki, Mama Aida Odinga Waziri, and all other protocols as established are respected. Your Excellency, I just want to make one statement as I recognize and then invite the Member of Parliament for this area. One, Your Excellency, you know land is life. Land is life. And better quality land means better quality life for our people. Degraded land that has not been managed properly, means life that has challenges, Honorable Deputy President. And therefore, as a Kilifi County and as a Parliament, we commit ourselves to ensure that we restore our lands, we respect our lands, restore them, and make this land more useful, more productive, and better quality life for all Kenyans. And that is the pledge from Parliament, and that's the pledge from the people of Kilifi. I thank you. I would like to introduce members of Parliament. I know the Deputy President was a bit worried, but don't be worried. I'm okay. So I want to start with Honorable Katambi. Honorable Katambi, MP for Njoro, Karibu Sana. I want then to introduce Mama Amina Mnyazi, MP for Malindi. I want to introduce MP Paul Katana, the MP for Kaloleni. I would like to introduce Lote, MP for Kacheliba. And then I want to introduce Masito, MP, Women Rep for Kwale County. And lastly, I want to introduce my friend Bwire, MP for Taveta. Having done those protocols and having observed that, Honorable Deputy President, Your Excellency, I want to invite the MP for this area, the Honorable Ken Kitty Chonga, to make his statement, and then probably Ngeno will take it. Thank you very much. Sumilani Midzi. Sumilani. Thank you.
Nikizingatia itifaki zote, kwanza nataka kuchukua nafasi hii kukukaribisha naibu wa rais hapa Kilifi Vipingo specifically, na pia pili ningetaka kuchukua nafasi hii kushukuru kwa sababu shughuli kama hii ambayo kwamba inakuwa observed ulimwengu mzima leo iko hapa Vipingo. Mheshimiwa Deputy President, nimeambiwa niongee kwa dakika 3. Ukweli wa mambo, mwanasiasa ukimwambia dakika 3 umemweza kabisa. Lakini nitatumia dakika hizo 3 nizungumze maswala ambayo yanahusiana na shughuli ya leo. Your Excellency the President, tumeangaziwa ile theme ya leo ambayo ni kuhusu mazingira, na kwetu hapa Pwani katika kuhifadhi mazingira kama alivyozungumza naibu wa governor, kuna mimea ambayo kwamba pia ni matunda. Uchumi wa mtu wa hapa Pwani umetegemea toka jadi mmea wa korosho na mmea wa mnazi. Hii pia ni miti. Tumeona kazi nzuri ambayo serikali ya mtukufu Rais Ruto inafanya kule bara. Majani chai, kahawa, pyrethrum, ile pia ni miti. Lakini uchumi ule ambao ungechangia katika mazingira hapa Pwani wa mkorosho na mnazi, huu umeachwa nyuma. Langu mimi ningekusihi, iwapo kama kweli tunaangalia Kenya isonge Singapore, ni lazima kila mtu aweze asubuhi kuweza kupata breakfast, apate pia lunch, na apate kitoweo cha jioni. Ninasihi serikali isimame kidete kuimarisha mmea wa mkorosho na mmea wa mnazi, ili mbali na kuzingatia mazingira pia iwe kitega uchumi kwa familia na jamii ya korosho tuende Singapore. La pili, Your Excellency, kabla mimi niwe mbunge mpaka leo naimba tutam, kulikuwa kumeanzishwa chuo hapa Ronald Ngala University ambacho ni chuo cha utalii. Mombasa, Kilifi ni mahali ya utalii. Your Excellency, ni jambo la kuhuzunisha. Tunaona miradi inaanzishwa, barabara zinajengwa, manyumba yanajengwa, miradi ya kila aina inakuja na inamalizika. Chuo kile kimechukua miaka zaidi ya 20 hakijakamilika. Ni jambo la kusikitisha. Pale pana uchumi ambao umelala, vijana watapata kazi. Huu mji wa Vipingo unaweza rais kukua. Mheshimiwa Rais, kwa unyenyekevu tunaomba serikali yako, kabla hatujaingia kwa tutam, tuhakikishe kile chuo tuweza kukifungua. La tatu, Your Excellency, juzi rais alikuwa hapa, na katika majadiliano ambayo yalipita ilikuwa ni masuala ya usquatter, Your Excellency, ambapo tunashukuru serikali yenu imetenga kima cha bilioni 5 kuhakikisha kwamba mtu wa pwani hawezi kuwa squatter tena. Your Excellency, kama ni kuna shida ya usquatter, shida kubwa iko Kilifi South, hata si mahali pengine. Hapa ndio home ground ya masquatter. La kunihuzunisha mimi, katika ile list ambayo imeandikwa sahihi, hakuna hata shamba moja la Kilifi South. Hii nimeandika barua, Your Excellency, nimeprofile zile mahali ambazo ni sugu sana. Nitakuletea ndani ya hii wiki. Tafadhali take your time, utusaidie angalau usquatter uteremke huko chini. Nikimaliza, maana yake nimeambiwa sina muda. Hapa mahali tumesimama, Your Excellency, kuna shule hapa Vipingo Secondary. Sio shule changa, lakini haijaweza kukua vile. Mimi nakuomba uninunulie basi la hii shule. Hilo halitaharibu mazingira. Tutakumbuka na Your Excellency is real hapa kwetu. Asante, Mungu akubariki.
Asante sana, tumpigie makofi. Thank you so much, honorable members, for sticking to the time as agreed. Asante sana. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, international cooperation remains central to addressing desertification, drought, and land degradation. I would now like to request the media to play a video message by the Deputy Head of Mission, Ambassador Alexander Findre, speaking on behalf of the diplomatic community to deliver a statement. Media team, please.
Honorable dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Germany, it is my great honor to speak to you today. And before I start, I would like to congratulate Kenya for hosting the global observance of this 2026 World Day to combat desertification and drought. It marks the first time in nearly a decade that the African continent has hosted this prominent international event. Congratulations. 95% of the food we eat depends on soil. Healthy soils are the foundation of food security, prosperity, and development. Soils are also the world's second largest carbon sink, and land ecosystems are a cornerstone of biodiversity. When we protect land, we protect the ecosystems that sustain life and the livelihoods of millions of people. Rangelands recognize, respect, restore. This year's theme for Desertification and Drought Day is both timely and necessary. For too long, rangelands have not received appropriate attention. Their contribution to food and nutrition security, their role in sustaining healthy ecosystems, and their importance for fostering climate resilience are still widely underestimated. Yet, their global relevance is undeniable. Rangelands cover more than half of the Earth's land surface and support the livelihoods of over 2 billion people. In Kenya, the importance of rangelands is evident. Arid and semi-arid lands cover nearly 80% of the country and support millions of pastoralists and agro-pastoralists. With the International Year of Rangelands and Pastoralists, UNCCD COP17 and the upcoming UNCCD flagship initiative on rangelands, 2026 is a key moment to significantly accelerate action on rangelands. But it goes beyond that. 2026 is a triple COP year, and with it comes a clear call to act jointly across land, climate, biodiversity agendas. Germany as host country of UNCCD and UNFCCC Secretariat, is committed to strengthening agricultural and food systems as a key lever for synergies among the 3 Rio Conventions. The protection and restoration of land, including rangelands, is essential for ensuring sustainable livelihoods now and in the future. Germany and Kenya have enjoyed a long-standing relationship since 1963. Agricultural and rural development, land restoration and resilience have been a common interest throughout. Currently, Germany invests more than 215 million euros in the transformation of Kenya's agri-food sector, and our cooperation bears fruits. Through our cooperation, more than 100,000 people are benefiting from interventions to better manage their natural resources and prepare for climate shocks across Turkana and West Pokot. And more than 88,000 hectares of agricultural lands have been protected and restored in Western Kenya. Just to give 2 examples. However, it is not only here in Kenya that the Kenyan and German government are pulling together to achieve a common goal. As partners committed to a strong multilateral system, Germany and Kenya share a common interest in advancing the Rio Conventions. Today's event contributes to that shared agenda. We look forward to working with all partners to translate this agenda into action on the ground. Asanteni sana, danke schön, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much, the Deputy Head of Mission, for your statement and for reaffirming the importance of global solidarity in addressing land degradation, drought resilience, and sustainable rangeland management. Your Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Kenya is honored to host this global observance, a moment that speaks to our close partnership with the United Nations system and our shared commitment in addressing environmental challenges through cooperation and collective action. It is now my distinct honor to invite Ambassador Dr. Aida Bedi Odinga, Ambassador and Permanent Representative of the Republic of Kenya to UNEP and UNON, to deliver a statement. Welcome, Your Excellency. A round of applause.
Your Excellency, Professor Kithure Kindiki, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. Deborah Baraza, Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Environment, Climate Change and Forestry, Deputy Governor of Kilifi, Madam Flora Mbesa, Ms. Yasmin Ford, Under Secretary General of United Nations and Executive Director, of United Nations Environmental Program, Dr. Engineer Festus Ngeno, Principal Secretary of the State Department for Environment and Climate Change, development partners, representative of civil society, academicians, the private sector, and local communities, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I'm pleased to join you today as we commemorate the global observance of World Desertification and Drought Day of 2026. Today marks a milestone in our collective journey to safeguard the one of humanity and most precious assets, that is our land. This day serves as a global call to action to address the growing challenges and desertification, land degradation, drought, which continue to threaten ecosystem, livelihoods, food security, sustainable development worldwide. This year's theme, Rangelands, recognizes, respect, restore, is both timely and urgent. Rangelands covers about earthly terrestrial surface and support the livelihood of billions of people, including millions of pastoralists who are custodians of this ecosystem. However, around the world, rangelands are increasingly under pressure from climate change, unsustainable land use, and biodiversity loss, and frequent droughts. In Kenya, more than 80% of our landmass consists of arid and semi-arid lands, which are home to vibrant pastoralist communities whose cultures, economies, and resilience are closely linked to healthy rangelands. These landscapes provide grazing resources, regulate water cycles, conserve biodiversity, and contribute significantly to the national economic development. However, the impact of land degradation and prolonged droughts continue to undermine these benefits. Droughts continue to undermine the benefits. Communities face declining productivity, reducing water availability, increased vulnerability to climate shocks, and growing competition over natural resources. These challenges demand bold, coordinated, and scientific-based responses. Ladies and gentlemen, this observance plays a critical role in raising awareness, strengthening political commitments, and mobilizing investment towards sustainable land management. It also highlights successful local solutions and implies the voice of communities that are leading to restoration efforts on the ground. Kenya has proudly commemorated this day since 1995 across arid and semi-arid counties, demonstrating commitment to combating desertification and building drought resilience. I commend the county people of Kilifi for hosting us this year, and the State Department of Environmental Climate Change for spearheading this organization. Restoration Rangelands is investment in people, prosperity, peace. Health rangelands support sustainable livestock production, conserve biodiversity, and enhance carbon separation, strengthen resilience to climate change, and sustains the cultural heritage of pastoral communities. As we reflect on this theme, I wish to emphasize three things. First, we must recognize the value of rangelands, their contribution to food system, biodiversity conservation, climate regulation, and local communities must fully appreciate and integrate into national development planning. Secondly, we must respect the knowledge and rights of pastoral communities. Indigenous and local knowledge systems have sustained this ecosystem for generations. Effective restoration requires meaningful participation to secure land tenure and to include governance, and empowers communities as partners in leadership. Third, we must restore degraded lands at scale. Restoration is one of the most cost-effective investments available to humanity. Through sustainable grazing management, ecosystem restoration, water conservation, agroforestry, and climate-smart land use practices, we can reverse degradation and build resilience for future generations. In conclusion, let us use this occasion to renew our commitment to protecting our land resources and support the communities who depend on them. Let us work together to ensure that future generations inherit productive landscape, thriving ecosystem, and resilient economies. Ladies and gentlemen, together, let us recognize and respect and restore our rangelands. Thank you very much, and may God bless you.
A round of applause to our Ambassador, Dr. Aida Betty Odinga. Thank you so much for your statement and for reaffirming Kenya's continued engagement with the United Nations system and in addressing collaboration, desertification, degradation, and drought. We truly appreciate your statement, Your Excellency. Your Excellency, now it is my honor and distinct pleasure to invite the Cabinet Secretary for Environment, Climate Change and Forestry, Dr. Deborah Mlongo Barasa, to deliver a statement. And she will also moderate the next high-level session that will include an address by the UNEP Executive Director, UNCCD Executive Director, the video message by UNSG, His Excellency Antonio Guterres, and lastly invite you, Your Excellency, to give the keynote address. With that, Your Excellency, thank you so much. I have been your moderator, Dr. Engineer Festus Ngeno, the Principal Secretary, State Department of Environment and Climate Change. Asanteni sana. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Principal Secretary. It is my honor to give my remarks and guide this high-level segment of the Global Observance of the Desertification and Drought Day 2026. Your Excellency, the Deputy President, Professor Kithure Kindiki, the Deputy Governor of Kilifi County, Your Excellency Flora Mbetsa, Ambassador Dr. Aida Betty Odinga, Ambassador and Permanent Representative to the Mission of the Republic of Kenya to UNON and UNEP, Ms. Inga Anderson, the UN Secretary General of the United Nations and the Executive Director of UNEP, Dr. Yasmin Fuad, the UN Secretary General of the United Nations and the Executive Secretary of the United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification, representatives of UN agencies, development partners, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great honor and privilege to join you today here in Kilifi County as Kenya hosts the Global Observance of World Desertification and Drought Day 2026 under the theme, Rangelands, Recognize, Respect, Restore. On behalf of the Ministry of Environment, Climate Change and Forestry, which serves as Kenya's national focal point to the United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification, I warmly welcome all our distinguished guests, partners, and friends who have traveled from different parts of the world to join us for this important occasion. This event is historic for our country. It is the first time Kenya is hosting the Global Observance of World Desertification and Drought Day, and only the second in the continent. We are deeply honored by this recognition, which reflects Kenya's continued leadership and commitment in combating desertification, land degradation, and drought. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, this year's theme emphasizes the importance of rangelands as vital ecosystems that contribute to livelihoods, biodiversity conservation, and national development. It advocates for the recognition, respect, and restoration of these landscapes, urging sustainable management to benefit current and future generations. In Kenya, rangelands are key to the economy, food security, biodiversity conservation, and climate resilience, particularly in arid and semi-arid regions. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Kenya is dedicated to implementing the United Nations Convention to combat desertification and therefore developed a 10-year national action program and established land degradation neutrality targets in 2017 that are currently being revised. Further initiatives include the 15 billion tree growing program, aiming to achieve a tree cover of 30% by 2032, which forms part of the nation's broader landscape and ecosystem restoration efforts. These actions are supported by strong policies and legal frameworks, such as the National Environment Policy, the National Landscape and Ecosystem Restoration Strategy, and Climate Change Act. We are already seeing positive results from our restoration efforts. This progress gives us confidence that sustained restoration can improve ecosystem health, strengthen resilience, and contribute to national and global environmental goals. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the choice of Kilifi County for the global observance highlights its significant rangelands that support livestock and local livelihoods while addressing challenges like land degradation. This celebration emphasizes the need to restore rangelands and enhance drought resilience locally. Accompanying activities such as tree growing initiatives, water tank donations, and improvement in water infrastructure for vulnerable communities showcase a practical, community-focused approach to development beyond mere ceremonial observance. And in this regard, I want to direct the State Department of Environment and Climate Change as the national focal point and the National Environment Management Authority as the UNCCD National Operational Focal Point to work closely with the county government of Kilifi to establish a land degradation neutrality pilot in this country. This pilot should serve as Kenya's demonstration center for land restoration and provide a clear monitoring mechanism to showcase the benefits of land degradation neutrality. We appreciate the UNCCD Executive Secretary, Ms. Yasmin Furad, development partners, UN agencies, county governments, local community, and all stakeholders who have supported Kenya in hosting this wonderful and important global event. So let us commit to recognizing, respecting, and restoring our rangelands for people, nature, and future generations. Thank you. Distinguished guests, with those few remarks, Kenya is honored to host this global observance in partnership with the United Nations system, and UN continues to play a central role in supporting countries in addressing environmental degradation, biodiversity loss, climate impacts, land restoration, and sustainable livelihoods. And that is why it is my honor and privilege to invite Ms. Inga Anderson, the UN Secretary General of the United Nations and Executive Director of the UN Environment Program, to deliver her remarks.
Good afternoon. Can I first start by greeting you, Excellency Kithure Kindiki, Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. But I also need to greet Mama, excuse me, I think we just lost the sound. Okay. I also need to greet Mama Betty Odinga, our permanent representative to UNEP, and of course, Dr. Deborah Barasa, Cabinet Secretary and valiant fighter for the environment, and my dear sister, Yasmin Fouad, who is the Executive Secretary of the Convention. Excellencies, ladies, friends, I'm really grateful that I'm here in Kilifi. What a beautiful day it is. And thank you to Kilifi and the honorable members of parliament, the local representation, for their leadership. What an absolutely astounding day, and how wonderful it was to meet the young children. And as for this child who spoke, I've never seen anything like it. That is the future of Kenya, and that is what I see every day living in this amazing country. This is the future. As this little girl told us, she held it in her hand and told us that Kenya has a future, it has strength, it has opportunities, and it is determined and it is rising. And I can say from UNEP's side, that is exactly what we are seeing. And that is why we're so proud to have the World Day on Desertification and Drought here in beautiful Kilifi County. Because Kilifi lives by the sea, but it also lives with the rangelands. And living between those, it understands both elements. It understands, yes, the beauty of the sea and all that it can bring, but it also understands that the lands are fragile, as we saw in that video. And so when I hear about Cabinet Secretary having committed to make land degradation neutrality for Kilifi County as a first set of goals, how marvelous is that? And I can say that we from UNEP will do all that we can to support you in that endeavor. Rangelands are hugely important. I don't need to tell this audience here that you know, you live with the goats and the cows and in some places the camels and the sheep. And you know that if a goat overgrazes, there is nothing for tomorrow. So finding a way that we can manage these rangelands without overgrazing, without exhausting the lands makes sense. But here's the thing, as Mama said so well, who knows this best? That's the people who manage these lands. They know how to run them. So let's listen to local communities. Let's make sure that we understand the practices of our forefathers and foremothers, because they knew how to do it. And so today, as we address desertification and drought, it has to go, of course, far beyond rangelands alone. We at UNEP, we're very, very proud to work with the government of Kenya and here in Kilifi County, with local communities, with international partners on land degradation and drought. The Tana Delta Lower Tana project, funded by the GEF and executed and implemented by UNEP, shows what can be achieved. Here in the Tana area, we have helped communities develop land use plans targeted, including 130 hectares under sustainable livestock, fisheries and crop management, and 10,000 hectares under restoration. This work also supported by the establishment of community conservation area of 95,000 hectares, showing how land use planning can reduce, yes, conflict between communities on grazing rights, protect biodiversity, and support local livelihoods. But restoration is not enough. We have to prevent healthy land from becoming degraded in the first place. And that is what today is all about. We have to have early warning. We need to lean in on this. And today's day is exactly about this. I celebrate Yasmin Fuad, the leader of the convention. I look forward to supporting her in the upcoming COP. And I want to assure you that we from UNEP, we have been in Kenya for 54 years, and we have learned from our Kenyan friends, and we are proud to be here. And I thank you for having this day today in Kilifi. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Anderson, for your inspiring address and for UNEP's continued partnership with Kenya and the global community in advancing environmental sustainability and ecosystem restoration and resilience. Our distinguished guests, the United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification remains a critical global framework for addressing land degradation, drought resilience, sustainable land management, and restoration of degraded ecosystems. Kenya is honored to host this global observance at a time when rangelands, pastoralism, and resilient livelihoods are central to our national and international priorities. It is now my great honor and privilege to invite Ms. Yasmin Fuad, the United Secretary General, Executive Secretary of the United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency, Professor Kindiki, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. Thank you. It's a great honor and a privilege to be participating with us today in this International Day. With all protocol reserved for everyone here, for the Cabinet Secretary, for the Deputy Mayor, for Mama, for my sister Inger, for also the representative of the Parliament, and much more, the local community, the pastoralists, the farmers, the women, and the children that I learned a lot from you today. I'd like to start by saying Asante Sana, Kenya. Thank you. Thank you for the warm hospitality. Thank you for making us today, as Africa, so proud for hosting the Drought and Desertification Day just 60 days before our COP, COP17, a COP that is coming in a very critical 2026 year. It is a year that will witness the 3 conventions. It is the land, the biodiversity, and a climate. And I cannot find more than Kenya as an example on how the 3 can really work together. I'd start with a very short message. My visit today and yesterday, I learned from the local community here in Kivali, the women that I saw, how they are restoring the mangrove once again. But the message was beyond that. The message was, we cannot continue dealing in islands. The land and water were intersecting there, and they were planting those mangrove. But the story goes beyond the abstract of the land and the trees. The story goes to the people, to the owners of this land and those who treat the water. How we treat our land that connects us is the thing that I had the answer for here in Kenya, in Kivali, when they told me that they sold themselves out with the fishermen in order to utilize the water and the land. Because they know that the pie can accommodate us, but it depends on our behavior, how we do that. Part of that discussion today, I thank you all for all the speeches that brought drought and desertification and land degradation at the upfront. But there is another important message today. This banner that has the stakeholders, part of that discussion always lacked the finance. We are losing each year $900 billion because of land degradation, and drought is letting us to lose $300 billion, which means that investing in land restoration and having the private sector hand in hand is the solution that we will be able to learn together and walk together that to COP17. Last but not least, I'd like to end my very simple speech beside thanking Kenya for the wonderful celebration of bringing all those people here today, for giving that strong message to the continent and to the African woman that we can do it, and we will continue to do it, respect, restore, and recognize land and rangeland. I'd like to remind ourselves of Wanakri Matahi, a daughter of this land, that once had thought of water and also thought of how can we think of the trees and how much can we very much replant them once again. It's very important while looking at that to see that our history will continue as our present, but will continue as our future. Thank you, Kenya, for bringing all of us here today. And UNCCD, beside UNEP, would stand ready to make that pilot project of the land degradation neutrality Kivali as a reality. But we will do it for the people, with the people, because this girl today has taught us that when we are restoring our land, we're restoring in the future generation, we're restoring hope and opportunities. And from Kenya, you are bringing land degradation, drought, and peace to everyone in Africa and beyond. So I thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Executive Secretary, for your inspiring address and for reaffirming the importance of global solidarity in combating this desertification, land degradation, and drought. Kenya deeply values its partnership with the UNCCD and continued support towards sustainable land and rangeland management. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we are honored to receive a special video message from Mr. Antonio Guterres, Secretary General of the United Nations. Media technical team, please proceed.
Spaces found in every climate on every continent. They cover half the Earth's land surface, supplying vital food and fibers and sustaining over 2 billion people. They also play a crucial role as wildlife habitats and carbon sinks. Yet up to 50% of the world's rangelands are now degraded or at risk. These conditions threaten the global food system, harm local livelihoods, reduce biodiversity, and increase greenhouse gas emissions. On this World Day of Combat Desertification and Drought, we are issuing an urgent call to recognize and respect the world's rangelands. This means investing in restoration, especially water security, empowering rural communities through sustainable employment, and forging solutions across borders through international cooperation. This year also marks the International Year of Rangelands and Pastoralists, a chance to support the pastoralists and indigenous peoples whose traditional knowledge can help safeguard those ecosystems. To protect our future, we must protect the land. Together, let us ensure that rangelands everywhere thrive for generations to come. Rangelands are vast open spaces.
Thank you. We deeply appreciate the Secretary General's message to the global community on this important occasion of the World Desertification and Drought Day. There is great significance today as it underscores the importance that the UN Global Call for Urgent Action to combat desertification, land degradation, and drought, while strengthening international cooperation towards restoration, drought resilience, and sustainable livelihoods. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we have now come to the keynote address. It is my distinct honor and privilege to invite His Excellency, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, to deliver the keynote address and official guide the nation and the global community on this important global observance of Desertification and Drought Day, Kenya. Please let us be upstanding as we invite His Excellency, the President.
Please be seated. I have just assured the Minister Deborah that I will apologize on her behalf. Baya sana. Friends, good afternoon. Good afternoon, friends. I think because we've been here for a long time, I will not read a speech. I will just share a few reflections on why we are here today, so that I can allow you to continue with the celebrations into the afternoon and the evening in your own ways. Allow me to recognize all dignitaries present, and also on behalf of the leader of our country, President William Ruto, I want to welcome those who have come from outside Kenya to Kenya. And I also want to take this opportunity to say that I have listened to the little girl who spoke here. I don't know whether you noticed, the girl did not have a speech to read. I wonder how many of us adults can do a job half of what that girl did here. And so, even as we look at protecting our environment, especially in the rangelands, and conserving the environment for future generations, today I feel challenged to even redouble the efforts that we must make to make sure that we make this country better, because our children seem to have much more hope in this country than the adults. I am very impressed that the little girl who spoke here has a view of things better than most of us and has a lot of hope in this country's potential and future. So I am very happy to join you today on this occasion as we observe the World Desertification and Drought Day. And as I've already said, you have heard from those who have spoken before me the statistics that have been given. 50% of the territory, the land territory of the earth, 50% is made up of rangelands. In Kenya, it is 80% of our territory that is rangelands. The people who derive their livelihoods from the rangelands, 2 billion around the world, including 500 million pastoralists. And out of the 500 million pastoralists, 250 million are residents of the African continent. You have also heard from those who have spoken before me that we need to recognize. And after recognizing, we respect. And after respecting, we restore. We must recognize the numbers. We must recognize the magnitude of the challenge before us. And we must recognize the duty that this present generation owes, not to ourselves, but to future generations. It's a proverb that says that this world, we have not inherited it from our ancestors. We have only borrowed it from our children. Therefore, our duty is to make sure we return this earth to our children better and more sustainable so that it can be able to feed our children and our grandchildren in their time. So today is a momentous occasion as we look at what we need to do. We must also recognize that rangelands are not wastelands. Rangelands are ecosystems of productivity. We must also recognize that rangelands supports livelihoods, communities, and incomes, millions, and globally billions. We must also recognize that these communities, who are the custodians of the rangelands, know what we need to do, how to do it. They just need to be supported so that they can be able to protect this fragile and sensitive ecosystem to continue building their families and their future from it. And we need to respect them and their knowledge. It is not enough to recognize them. We must also respect them and their knowledge. We must also help them restore the ecosystem. And therefore, the world is not suffering today from the lack of knowledge on what is wrong and what needs to be done. The world is only behind in implementation of what needs to be done. This is the clarion call from Kilifi, Kenya, this afternoon. We must move from wonderful speeches to implementation of the so many commitments that we have made along the journey on combating desertification and drought, but also generally on the protection of our environment. I therefore want to acknowledge the role played by the United Nations, particularly the United Nations Environmental Programme, which we host here in Nairobi. And I just want to thank the UN and UNEP for the wonderful partnership and support that we have received as the government of Kenya, and I believe very many other countries among the member states. I also want to recognize the role that has been played by the secretariats of the UN Convention on Combating Desertification. I want to thank you, Madam Executive Director, and your team for your partnership and focus and clarity as we continue dealing with the issues before us. I wish you well in the journey ahead as you help us navigate the agenda before us. So we must make sure we do not lose more productivity in the rangelands, because when land loses its productivity, farmers lose harvests, people lose income, pastoralists lose livestock, communities lose water sources, young people lose opportunities, and the incidence and burden of poverty, conflict, displacement is the consequence of loss of productivity in the rangelands. So we know what we need to do. We know the action we need to take. What we must do now is to provide timelines and a way of checking on ourselves to make sure that we are on track. Therefore, friends, because I promised that I will not read a speech, I just wanted us to contextualize why we are here. And I'm very also proud of the leadership of our ministry because of what is happening in this space. We are running a program, thank you, Deborah. We are running the program of planting 15 billion trees by the year 2030. And I want to affirm the commitment of the government of Kenya to realize that commitment that we have made for ourselves. Since I have already praised our minister and the PS and everybody in that space, including NEMA, let me give them a directive, which is, as we grow seedlings for the 15 billion tree program, we must customize, as was requested by the local leadership. Local member of parliament, when he spoke, I listened, and I'm sure he's representing the traditional knowledge we were talking about from local communities here. As we do the seedlings, let us customize them to the needs of the local areas where we are going to take action. And for that reason, the directive is out of the number of seedlings that we want to produce for growing here in Kilifi. We must commit to increase the number of fruit, mangrove, cashew nuts, and fruit trees that are very common in this area. Ulisema mnazi na nini? What is mnazi in English? Coconut, cashew nut, mangrove, na mango tree. Umesikia waziri? Nimesema ya kwamba wenzetu kutoka Kilifi ya kwamba serikali ya Kenya iko na mpango wa kupanda miche na miti bilioni 15 ifikapo mwaka wa 2030. Nimeagiza wizara yetu ya mazingira kuhakikisha ya kwamba katika ile miche ambayo itatengenezwa, ambayo itatumika kupanda miti, watenge idadi kubwa ya hiyo miti, iwe ni miti ya minazi, iwe ni miti ya maembe ama miembe, iwe ni mangrove, sijui mangrove kwa Kiswahili inaitwaje? Inaitwa mikoko. Mikoko, minazi, miembe na mikorosho. Ni fire si fire. Kwa hivyo kwa hivyo nimesema ya kwamba serikali yetu itahakikisha ya kwamba itatumia na itaheshimu jamii huku mashinani kuhakikisha kwamba ujuzi wao katika kulinda mazingira unatumika, na tunawasaidia kutumia huo ujuzi kuongeza ama kuinua uchumi wao, kwa sababu miti kama hiyo ambayo tumetaja ni miti ambayo sio tu ya kusaidia kuhifadhi mazingira, lakini pia inaongeza utajiri na inaongeza pesa katika mifuko ya watu wa Kilifi na watu wa Pwani. Vile vile nimesikia vile mbunge wa Kilifi South amesema, na tutafanya mambo yale ambayo umesema mheshimiwa, lakini nimekuuliza why have you ambushed me? Sababu ungeninong'onezea hapo uniambie ni nini unataka tufanye, kwa sababu leo ni siku ya kitaifa na siku ya kimataifa. Lakini I think you are a good politician, you know how to take advantage of the moment. So I have heard what you have said. Tutakukamilishia hii taasisi ambayo tumejenga kwa miaka mingi hapa ya Ronan Gala. I want to commit on behalf of government that we will finalize, complete and operationalize the Ronan Gala College, Utalii College, because it has been there for the longest time possible. We are going to get resources, complete and operationalize. Ndio tukifika hapa kuomba kura, itakuwa tu ni tuta na fire. Ama namna gani? Ni kweli si kweli? So we are going to do that, Mheshimiwa. I have also heard what you've said about the school now that we are here. But more importantly, as I end my remarks, I am very, very touched by the message from the little girl who spoke here. Therefore, Mheshimiwa, you know what you must do. We must support that school where that child comes from. We must support that family, and we must do something for the community here in honor of that child and our generation, so that we encourage our children and young people to have a positive mindset, to be patriotic, to think about the country, and to influence us positively. Kwa hivyo, Mheshimiwa, you know what we need to do. Sina mna hiyo? Kwa hivyo, wenzangu, mimi nitafanya hiyo kitu vile nimesema, na nimefurahi sana. You can sit down, Mheshimiwa. Nimefurahi sana. I think this has been a very, very successful event. We are going to follow through on our commitments to fight desertification and drought as a country. We are going to continue being a responsible member of the United Nations family and other global arrangements that help us resolve this problem. My only call to the international community is that fighting desertification, fighting drought, is a shared commitment. It requires financing and it requires solidarity. And therefore, no one nation, no one part of the world can do this alone. Kwa hivyo, mwisho kabisa, maybe I should say this in English, finally, that part of the effects of desertification and degradation of rangelands is increased human-wildlife conflict. And we have seen the statistics have continuously increased because of the increasing encroachment and degradation that is happening in this space. And therefore, on behalf of the government of Kenya today, we will be releasing shortly a part of the compensation for the victims of those who have been injured because of the wildlife, human conflict in this area, and we are going to issue a check from the Kenya Wildlife Service on behalf of the government of Kenya to the community here as part of the process of making sure that we recognize, we respect, and we restore. Kilifi hoye! Kilifi hoye! Ni leo si leo. Ni leo si leo. Ni leo si leo. Mimi nataka niwashukuru sana, na kwa niaba ya Rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya, kwa niaba ya sisi zote tunashukuru. Hayo mambo mengine tutaongea, labda leo sio siku, lakini tutaongea, tutaona vile tutafanya. Wabunge wetu wako area hii, tutapangana ndio tukuje, ndio hiyo siku ingine niwaulize kama ni fire ama sio. Ama mnasema ni fire? Mnasema ni fire? I bring you greetings from President Ruto. Asanteni sana. Thank you very much. God bless Kenya. God bless the world. Thank you very much for all of us who have made it to this occasion. Asanteni sana. Bas, asante, naomba tuketi, those of us who can sit. PS, so I think you can read out this. Just read out the numbers. You can sit down, and who should come here with me? Maybe
Thank you so much.
the governor,
Allow
the minister,
me...
and who comes in front?
Yes. Kakala Karao Shefa to represent the community. Katso Koi Mwabire. Lilian Sanita Kahinde. Your Excellency, this is beneficiaries, a list of 60 of them, who will be issued checks on 17th of June during the Desertification and Drought Day celebration in Kilifi County. So kindly beneficiaries with the county government.
Naam, asante sana. Ni kipindi cha kuwatuza ama kuwapa compensation wale ambao wameweza kuathirika na hasara ya wanyamapori. Wa kwanza ni Kazo Koi Mwambire, atafuatwa naye Kakala Kirao Jefa, naye Bi Lilian Sanita Kahindi, ili angalau waweze kuwawakilisha wengine. Tafadhali tuwape makofi ya kilo. Asante sana. Ni kupanguzwa machozi tu na serikali kuu kwa sababu ya hasara ambazo waliweza kuzipata wakulima hawa na wenyeji katika jimbo hili la Kilifi. Naam, asante sana. Nitawaomba muondoke ili tuendelee na kipindi cha mwisho kwa ruhusa ya Mheshimiwa Naibu wa Rais. Kwa hivyo wengine sote tafadhali tuondoke. Niwakaribishe Bwana Stephen Otieno katika kipindi cha kuwatuza wale ambao wameweza kubobea kabisa katika masuala ya utunzaji wa mazingira. Tumpe makofi mazuri Bwana Stephen Otieno. certificates kindly. I take this opportunity to invite our two guests to join the photo on this program of appreciating those who have done good in conserving the environment. Wa kwanza wa kutuzwa ni Bwana Stephen Otieno. Bwana DG, tafadhali mpokeze Mheshimiwa Naibu wa Rais cheti hicho aweze kumpa Bwana Stephen Otieno. Asante, tunatumai Bwana Stephen ataweza kuwafunza wengine masuala ya kutunza mazingira. Wa pili ni Bwana Martin Ya. Mpigie makofi mazuri anapojongea. Bwana Martin Ya. Na atakayefuatia ni Empowerment Farmers Foundation, kikundi cha Empowerment Farmers Foundation. Na wacha mwisho ni Nature Kenya. Popote mlipo kwa haraka kidogo. Aya, makofi kwa Bwana Martin Ya. Aya, geuka tupate picha ya kumbukizi. Asante kabisa. Watakaofuatia ni kikundi cha Empowerment Farmers Foundation. Na hatimaye ni Nature Kenya, kikundi cha Nature Kenya. Nature Kenya, popote mlipo kwa haraka kidogo. Asante kabisa. Makofi mazuri kwao jameni. Hawa wamebobea kabisa kwa masuala ya utunzaji wa mazingira ambayo kwa hakika yameweza kutufaa sote. Kwa sasa tutakuwa na picha ya pamoja ya wageni wetu. We are having a photo for you, our visitors, with our chief guest. Let's give a smile, please. Kindly one more minute, sir. Kindly, our chief guest, one more minute. The NEMA team, kindly. The NEMA team and KWS. Our area MPs, tunaweza kuketi ili tuwaruhusu again. One more please. One more with the NEMA team and the KWS. Thank you very much everyone for being part of this. Tungealika the steering committee.
Thank you, sir.
Tungealika the steering committee, lakini nitaomba samahani. Naomba Mheshimiwa Naibu wa Rais usalie kwa sababu ya wimbo wa taifa, na ninaomba kila mmoja tusimame kwa heshima. Tuliovalia kofia sio rasmi, tafadhali tuzitoe. Wanabendi, kazi kwenu. And all dignitaries, we have been invited for lunch.
Kuna wenzangu walikuwa wanaitumia pale kwa gari, so nilikuwa nafikiri itakuwa slow, lakini nimeona hapa imeenda smooth. Hii wifi.
Ilikuwa tu ni watu, mimi kama